Knicks picks. Parkins picks. Are they pretty accurate or are they pathetic? Welcome, football fans and gridiron gamblers. It's Mitch here with my reaction to Danny Parkins' picks and Nick Wright's picks for week 3. You enjoyed the Colin Cowherd video? You enjoyed the Blazing 5? If you haven't watched it already, go check it out. So we're back with another reaction, talking NFL picks for week 3. And basically I say whether they're right, whether they're wrong, whether to fade or to follow these picks in week 3. So let's get to it. Gronk, spike the like button and don't be a jabroni. Subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments your thoughts on their picks. I'd love to hear from you guys, and let me know if you have a prediction. Like, do you think they're going to go 2-1, 1-2, 0-3? Let me know in the comment section below. We're going to start off with, I think I want to start with Nick Wright's picks, because I feel like Danny right now is the main event. Parkins' picks is the main event because he's just been so successful, and I'm sure he has the crowd, he has everything. It's a big gimmick. So let's get to it. Let's talk about Nick's picks. I'm intrigued.
For honest, one of the most important segments we do all week, Nick's picks. Now I got to tell you,
Yikes.
Oh.
last week, last week,
Yikes.
Patriots, easy win, no problem, as an underdog. Chiefs, Nick's picks this year are 0-2 in the Chiefs and 3-1 in the other 4 games. And that one loss is that Jags game, which was stolen from me. I considered filing a police report in that game. They're up there. Joe Burrow goes out. Jake Browning.
I don't know, bro. When you lose to the backup quarterback throwing 3 picks, I don't think it's a good pick. No matter if the coach went for it and they didn't get it or not, it's a bad pick if Jake Browning throws 3 interceptions and you still lose your bet. I'll just throw that out there. It's probably just not a good bet. I'm just going to say, you don't need a police report for that, okay? I'll say this. I liked the Eagles and I liked the Patriots, so based on his picks, I actually would have been 3-0. I took the Bengals as well, so yeah, Nick, we were on 2 opposite sides. I would have been 3-0 if I just swapped 2 of his picks, but maybe I should do that. Maybe I should just do one pick that I like that Nick has, and then we'll see if this becomes a trend. But yeah, I would have been 3-0 with his selections last week based on the games he picked. I would just pick 2 opposite sides. So, but this year he's 3-3, 500, not terrible. We'll see if he can get on track in week 3. Okay.
Throwing picks. They're up 3 at the 8-yard line with 2 minutes left. By the way, I understand analytically why he went for that 4th and 5. From a covering perspective, though, it's a disaster. You kick the field.
It's a disaster. I know, I've been there, but you lost to Jake Browning with 3 interceptions. Like, come on. And then you bet on your own team against the Eagles, who obliterated them in the Super Bowl. Come on, bro. You should have known better.
You go up 6. I can't lose, but it's fine. You know how you come back from 1-2 week with a 3-0 week. And you know how you get to a 3-0 week? By taking the games everyone else is too scared to take. Like the Tennessee Titans getting 4.5 at
balls
home against the Colts. Divisional home under.
Testicular fortitude, the Tennessee Titans plus 4.5 at home. Honestly, based on the trends, this is a good bet. Based on the way that people are talking about each team, it's a good bet. But would I have the faith in the Tennessee Titans to bet this? No, probably not. But that might be a reason to bet it at the same time. Sometimes the best bet is the bet that nobody wants to make. So I'm not necessarily going to disagree with this. The Colts are coming off a big win. The Colts are riding high. The Colts are 2-0. They obliterated the Miami Dolphins at home. They beat the Denver Broncos. Probably should have lost that game based on a ridiculous penalty. And they are now playing their first game on the road, which I do feel is a factor. Tennessee at home in this game. Tennessee has played competitively against the Broncos, competitively against the Rams, at least through the first half. They were leading the Rams in the first half after the first half last week. Tavondre Sweat injury, I think, is significant, especially against Jonathan Taylor. that's something that might persuade me to maybe lay off the game, because if Jonathan Taylor can get it going on the road and they can run the ball and they can protect Daniel Jones, I don't know. The Titans offense just has not been great enough for me, but let's see the breakdown. Let's hear his argument and let's see.
Underdog against a team I simply don't trust. People will remember that I was the first one to call the 2025 call to the 2024 Saints after they lose this game outright to the Tennessee Titans. Also,
I will say it does kind of feel like a scheduled loss in the way where, like, it's on the road, divisional opponent. Tennessee hasn't won a game yet. They're probably going to win a few games this year. The Colts are probably not going to start 3-0, are they? Like, it does kind of feel like the Titans should win. So, if anything, I might back Nick here and say this is a good pick. I don't have any opinion on it. I have not bet any money on this game. I have nothing, no stakes on it. But I would say if I had to choose, I might actually lean 4.5 with Tennessee. They could lose by 3. They could lose by 4. They could win the game outright. I wouldn't be shocked.
Cam Ward,
They've hung in these games.
that one throw notwithstanding, has shown a bit of flashes. The Colts maybe flying a little too high after stealing a win last week because of that leverage penalty. And again, not always a trend's better. However, underdogs 11-1 in their last 12 in AFC South games. I'm getting 4.5 points, and a
That helps the Texans bet.
team that, honest to God, at the end of the year might be as good as the Colts.
Maybe you should just bet the Texans and the Titans, guys, with that trend. That's a pretty ridiculous trend.
And they're at home. I'll take the 4.5.
Okay, I'm gonna lean with Nick. I like that pick. I think that's a sharp pick. Okay,
Next, Chargers laying less than a field goal at home against the Broncos. Now, I understand at home just means it's in Los Angeles or Inglewood.
Chargers beat the Broncos twice last year. They swept them. Throw that out there. 2.5 is a good number because I've seen 3s pop up. If you're going to bet Denver, try to get a 3. If you're going to bet the Chargers, try to get a 2.5. Basic common sense. Something about this game. I like Denver. Something about this game. I feel like the biggest football reason would be that Khalil Mack is out. And Khalil Mack being out means that the Chargers have a very limited pass rush. And Denver has a very good offensive line. Right now, they actually rank through 2 weeks as the best protecting offensive line in football. And that's not really a stat that is misconstrued because they were very good last year as an offensive line. They were top 2 in the NFL. So it's not like it doesn't have a lot of consistency or longevity to it. So if Bo Nix has a ton of time, I don't care how good the Chargers secondary is, they'll probably score some points. And it kind of comes down to, can Denver have a bounce back performance on defense against one of the hottest quarterbacks in football? So the reason I'm not betting Denver on the point spread or to win the game necessarily is because I just have too much respect and love and admiration for how Justin Herbert is playing. But I would honestly, if I had to choose, I think I'm on Denver. I do like Denver in like a teaser scenario because I do think that these teams are fairly even. I do feel like Denver has the better pass rush. I do feel like the Chargers don't run the ball well. They've been last in the NFL through 2 weeks running the ball. Denver has the best secondary that the Chargers have played so far with certainty. And I could see Bo Nix having a lot of time. So that's kind of where I'm at. I actually would fade this pick, personally.
It's going to be more Denver fans than Charger fans, but they still got to travel. Also, the flip side to that Colts win last week, the stomach punch of that loss for Denver, and the fact that Bo Nix against that Chargers defense
I kind of think those 2 points, though, the travel for the Chargers and the stomach punch, is kind of points in favor of Denver, is it not?
seems like a disaster waiting to happen, and I'm laying
I thought Bo Nix played decent against the Colts.
less than a field goal. The Chargers are going to win this game. The Chargers can win this game ugly and close, and I still cover, getting 2.5. And last but not least, one of the marquee
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
games of the weekend, except it's not on the weekend. It's on Monday. Detroit catching 4.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. This is a last team with
Okay, I will say this. I made the Ravens a best bet at 4.5 on Thursday when I released my best bets. I did not know that Matabike was going to be out. I'm not too concerned about Kyle Denoy. Obviously, we knew Isaiah Likely would be out. I'm not too concerned about those. Matabike not playing is a big deal. I still think the Ravens win, but 4.5 becomes a lot trickier based on that injury because he is their best pass rusher, probably. He's their best defensive lineman. That's a significant injury. Okay? I still think the Ravens win because I think they win it on the back of Lamar and their offense, and I think they're going to go crazy on Monday Night Football. And I still believe in that secondary. A lot of people are fading it. I still think the Ravens are the better team. And if you had me bet on this game on the point spread, I would still take the Ravens. But I might find a different way to play the Ravens just because I do think this game could now be closer than I expected because of the injuries. I will say that, okay? So that's a point in his favor. I personally don't like the Lions on the road on Monday night in a hostile Baltimore against an elite quarterback who can move. Detroit's always struggled with that matchup. Detroit plays way too much man coverage. Detroit has to defend Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry. I just don't see it happening. And I do think that the Ravens defense will come to play even without those pieces. So I think he's 1-2 this week. But I could be wrong on one of these. You guys let me know what you think.
The ball wins the game. Van Noy and Wiggins are questionable for Baltimore. How is Baltimore going to slow down the Detroit offense?
Pretty sure Wiggins is playing. Of course, if Wiggins doesn't play, that's another, we'll have to see on Monday. That's big, okay? That's big.
With that secondary, I think Baltimore can win the game, but it's final scores that I think are in play. 27-24, 34-31. 35-31, 30-20.
The thing is, Ravens usually win by more than 3 or 4. They usually do.
27,
especially against NFC teams.
31-28, 31-27. You know what all those have in common? 4.5 point covers it. So whether it's backdoor cover, Lions win outright, or it's just a close Baltimore win, I like the Lions plus the points. Two really good teams. That's their favorite by too many. So I'm getting 4.5 with the Titans. I'm laying 2.5.
He really likes 4.5, huh?
With the Chargers. I'm getting 4.5 with the Lions. That's a 3-0 weekend. And if this camera pans out,
I'm going to say 1-2. Okay, let's get to Parkins' picks. Let's see who he has this week. I'm intrigued.
Coach, what did you say about the martini? My God. Parkins picks.
That's right, Brew.
Yeah, well, listen, I need one.
Talk about small sample size.
Danny tries to go 3-0. I beat him in week 1. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
I beat him in week 1.
Last year, this year. Time now for the humblest pick segment in all of sports television. I bought this chain.
I look forward to seeing you in the crown and the cape.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, that's right. I earned this cape. But here's the thing. Sometimes, because of lifestyle choices, my memory, not so hot anymore. I mean, I see the NFL very clearly, but, the memory's short term. It can kind of escape me.
Look at this.
How did I do last week? How did it go?
Guys, let me know. Dude, should I dress like that on my show? Bills, Ravens, Eagles. He got all 3 right. Okay, congratulations, sir. He has 4-2 on the season. Let's see if he can do it again in week 3.
That's what it was. Talk about easy, easier, and easiest. My God. Rams over Titans. That was free money. Bills over Jets. Could have been 16.5 and it would have covered, Willie, but it was only 6.5. And then, Eagles Chiefs came down to the fourth quarter, but still wrong team favored. And the Eagles came out ahead. So 3-0 plus a fluke of a 1-2, 4-2. That's 66%, even better.
I was with him on the Eagles, with him on the Rams, although I didn't bet it. And then the Bills, I did actually have the Jets to cover that, and that was embarrassing.
Then the 65%.
Didn't bet it, though.
From last year, but I'm not here to talk about the past. I'm here to make money in week 3.
Okay, here we go.
Number 1, the Chargers.
Wow.
Only 2.
We got both of them going with the Chargers. That's interesting to me. And, of course, they both get 2.5. Yeah, I don't know. It's something about this game. I don't know. Will the Chargers beat the Broncos 3 times in a row? Beat Sean Payton 3 times in a row? I'm just not so sure, especially without Khalil Mack. I'm just concerned about the Chargers' pass rush. I don't think they're going to have any pass rush in this game. I respect their defense, but if they can't get to the quarterback, I don't really care. I also feel like maybe we're starting to, I think based on these segments, maybe starting to overrate the Chargers, maybe underrate the Broncos just slightly. The Chargers, again, have very little running game. And if you're going to keep dropping back against Denver, they've got a ferocious pass rush. Compared to the Raiders and the Chiefs, they can get to the quarterback. They've got a better secondary. So I actually kind of like Denver here. Especially after both of them picked the Chargers, I almost feel more confident in Denver. And I will say I do have Denver in a teaser, but I have not bet the point spread.
2.5. I'll be honest, scares me a little bit. Feels like it should be 3.5. But you know what? I'm going to just trust how I'm seeing the NFL. And here's the thing.
He loves Herbert, though.
You guys know how I feel about the Chargers. Their defense, their offensive line, their coach, obviously number 10, Justin Herbert, right now one of the favorites
I really don't feel like their offensive line has properly been tested yet, though.
for MVP. But what people don't talk about, they say, oh, the Denver Broncos, great defense, great coach, up-and-coming quarterback. Maybe a lot of that is true. But what about the wins that the Denver Broncos have had? When Denver won their games, their last 9 wins, what am I
A lot of bad teams.
supposed to be impressed? You beat Cam
This is a divisional foe, though. This is a divisional game.
Ward, Carson Wentz, Anthony Richardson,
buddy.
Gardner Minshew twice, Kirk Cousins, Bryce Young, Spencer Rattler, and Jameis Winston. Methinks this is a step up in competition when you get Justin Herbert on the road. Broncos defense is good, but not against elite quarterbacks, of which Justin Herbert is exactly that. I think the Chargers cover the 3 going away. This number also shocked me. And I know it's a road favorite, which people say, well, that's a public bet. Atlanta minus 5.5 in Carolina.
This one scares me for some reason. I like the Falcons. I definitely do. And they were like my 6th pick on my best bets. Like I just left them off. But the fact that it's an NFC South divisional game on the road, Carolina's home opener, no AJ Terrell, that kind of put me over the edge. I do think the Falcons, their defense looks really promising this year. That's a huge point in their favor. But without their number 1 corner now, and offensively, I do think they're going to run the ball against Carolina. I do think Drake London can bounce back. I do think Michael Penix has the easiest matchup he's had all year. And Carolina, I saw them up close and personal. They look terrible. But it's a divisional game. It's a divisional game on the road. It's week 3. There's typically a lot of upsets this week. This feels tough. But I would probably only bet Carolina if I was getting 6.5. At 5.5, under 6, I'd still lean towards Atlanta, so I would tend to agree with this pick.
I can't decide which is the bigger advantage in this game, so I will just show you Atlanta's defense. Because Atlanta's defense, coming into the year, for the last 5 years, they've had the worst pass rush in the NFL. And then they used their 2 first-round picks, right? They traded up to get Pierce, and they got 2 first.
Maybe we're thinking they're a little bit better than they are after they played J.J. McCarthy, to be fair.
Round picks. All of a sudden, pressure percentage, sack percentage, opponent passer rating. And Bryce Young, terrible under pressure. And so, again, 2-game sample, I don't think the Falcons are a top 5 defense in the NFL. But I know that Carolina is a bottom 5 defense in the NFL because they were the worst defense in the league by far last year. And think about Atlanta. You're Michael Penix. In week 1, you play Todd Bowles' defense. In week 2, you play Brian Flores' defense.
This is why I like the over.
And in week 3, you get Carolina.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like practicing against JV. Atlanta wins this game by 2 touchdowns. Okay. This is a blowout across the board.
All right.
3rd and final pick. I doubted them for 1 week. The Rams plus 3.5 against the Eagles. 3 and the hook.
I don't hate it. We've talked about it with Colin's picks. I don't hate it. I feel like, yeah, the Rams look better, but the Rams have played Tennessee and Houston, 2 pretty bad offenses, 2 pretty, Texans I feel like have underwhelmed. They're sort of mid right now. Tennessee is an outright bad team, okay? Even if Nick thinks they're going to cover. And yeah, Stafford's the better quarterback here. The Rams do have a ferocious pass rush. Yes, the Rams played the Eagles well last year, but one thing they didn't do was stop Saquon. And if they don't stop Saquon again, they're not going to win and they might not cover. They could lose 28-24 and you don't win this bet. But the Eagles defense looked a lot better last week. I still think the Rams can shred them in aspects of this game. I would lean Rams. I actually picked the Rams to win the game. So, of course, I'm in. I just feel like this game has so many outcomes. It has so much potential for it to be, an Eagles win by 10 points, a Rams win by a field goal. To me, it just feels all over the map. You guys let me know what you think of this game.
Most common outcome for NFL games is 3 points, so you're giving me 3.5. You lose by 3, could still cover the spread. This one is a quarterback evaluation point, and the game just means more to the Rams. So a little bit of vibes on this one. But Matt Stafford has been excellent. I mean, just across the board, it's not a surprise. Yards per attempt has been great. He was great against Philly last year. And this Eagles defense is not as good as Eagles defenses of the last couple of years. Certainly not as good as last year because of how young they are. All the guys that they lost, they haven't been getting to the quarterback as much.
One thing that scares me a little bit about the Rams is I don't think their offensive line has played that well. And maybe a lot of that comes down to the Texans pass rush. But I just feel like their offensive line, they don't have Steve Avila, one of their guards. That scares me a little bit. Not having Witherspoon at corner scares me against A.J. Brown, having Emmanuel Forbes. I think there are areas where the Eagles can attack, and you just wonder if there's going to be one of these explosive weeks that the Eagles have yet to have. Are they going to turn it around at any point? This could be a great bet because the Eagles could just be completely overrated. People might be right about that. At the same time, I don't know if we have enough of a sample size about the Rams, especially from a run defense perspective, that they've turned it around from last year's matchup.
Stafford, when he's pressured, the numbers obviously go down. That's what Jalen Carter will be trying to do. But I think Stafford picks apart the Eagles. And again, if that was a 62-minute playoff game, they win last year. So I feel like this is a revenge for the Rams. So to recap, Rams in the points, Falcons lay in the wood, Chargers.
I say he goes 2-1. So I think Nick goes 1-2. I think Danny goes 2-1. And Danny extends his lead for the year. But you guys let me know what you think. It's Mitch. Thank you guys for watching. And if you want more reactions just like this on Money Mitch, then like the video and comment below and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Peace.